before we get into Kids' Church for this week, we're going to have a very quick recap of what happened last week. So you might remember about the strange hand that suddenly appeared and started writing on the wall. And the king at the time, King Belshazzar, basically God had said, I have looked at your life, I have weighed it in my scales. Remember we had the scales? I've weighed your life in my scales and it doesn't measure up. And that night, King Belshazzar died. And a new king came along, and in fact, the mighty country of Babylon was split between the Medes and the Persians, and the new king of the Medes was King Darius. So that's where we're going to take up our story this morning. King Darius is now the king. But before we get into this morning, I want you to do something. Can you make the noise of a dog? Right, everybody all together. I've only got 2 kids here, so you have to have them out, right? Okay? Are you ready? Woof, woof. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, whoa. What about a cat? Meow. What about a lion? Roar. Now, hold on a minute. Scary lions, right? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Roar. Now, you see that roar? I want that roar again. This time, keep your eyes closed. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Didn't really work. Never mind. Okay, we'll hear a little bit more about that during Kids' Church. If you just give me a minute. Roll up, get the tickets here. Roll up, get your tickets on. Adults, children, stop your tickets. Come on, guys. Get your tickets here. Roll up.
Just, what do you think? What's happening? What are you doing?
The circus is about to start. Did you not hear the music?
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this evening's show at Lighthouse Big Top Circus. You'll be entertained, you'll be dazzled, you'll be amazed and excited. We have it all for you tonight. You'll laugh at the clowns. You'll be dazzled by the jugglers and acrobats. We have for you tonight death-defying trapeze and tightrope artists. But tonight, prepare to be afraid, terrified and amazed by our newest act, never seen before. Brand new to the circus tent. Yes, it's our fearless lion Tamer. Give it up for Daniel!
Wait, I'm not a lad, Tamer.
Yeah, you are. Here, look. Hold this. There, now you can make the part. Give it a crack there. You're a lad, Tamer. Now you like the part, like I said. And look, there's the programme. Well, your name's on the programme there.
Seriously? Right, but
Daniel is so brave, he's even spent the night in a pit full of lions. He survived, and he's here tonight. The wonderful, the amazing, the bravest man on earth.
No, I'm not brave. I just knew God was with me.
Well, that night, those lions, maybe they weren't very hungry. So put your hands together for Daniel.
No, they were starving. They were really hungry. They actually keep them hungry so that there's no way at all anybody can escape.
So you see, you heard it here yourself. Even though he knew those lions were very, very hungry, this Daniel volunteered to go and spend the night with them.
Hey, wait. I did not volunteer. No way. I had no choice. The king just decided that I should be pushed in with them.
Why did the king do that?
Well, I didn't obey what he had said his new law about not praying to anyone but him.
The king must have hated you.
But that's the trouble. He actually sort of liked me, but he got tricked into making this new law, and then he couldn't get out of it.
So why did you not just obey him? After all, you was the king.
But I would have obeyed him, accepted that, because I'd rather die than disobey God.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brave. He said it himself, he'd rather spend the night with the lions, even die. But tonight, he's not going to die. So you'll see for yourself just how brave this amazing Daniel is.
But I told him before, I'm not brave. I'm afraid of lions like anybody else would be.
Look, you've done it before. You've done it before.
Oh, but...
Did I use the mic? Sorry. Look, here's your whip.
Right, okay.
Give him a biscuit.
Look, excuse me, Thomas. Is that a cat?
I'm sure they did anyway.
Those are dog biscuits. We're talking about a cat. And not just an ordinary cat, it's a very, very big, hungry, scary cat. There's no way I get in there.
But you got it before.
Well, but I don't think you really understand what happened that night. Let me show you what really happened.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in a change to our programme, here it is, Daniel's story. Slick as ever.
God's story, Daniel and the Lion's Den. So part of God's story is about a man named Daniel, and it goes like this. Daniel was an Israelite who went to live in a place called Babylon. Israelites are a part of God's special family, and because they were in Babylon, they were expected to worship the gods of Babylon instead of the one true God. Even though Daniel was far away from home, God protected him, and he became a well-known man in Babylon. He was one of King Darius' most trusted rulers. King Darius appointed 120 rulers to watch over his kingdom, and Daniel was the best. So King Darius put him in charge of the whole kingdom. When the other rulers heard about King Darius' plan, they were jealous of Daniel and looked for ways to get him in trouble. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find Daniel doing anything wrong. The jealous leaders knew Daniel would only worship God, so they decided to use that against him. So they went to King Darius and asked him to sign a law saying everyone should pray only to the king for the next 30 days. And anyone who disobeyed this law would be thrown into a den of lions. Kids, could you imagine spending the night with a bunch of lions? King Darius signed the law, but Daniel kept doing what he had always done. Like any other day, he went home, kneeled by his open window, and prayed to God. When the jealous rulers went to Daniel's room and saw him praying and asking for God's help, they went straight to King Darius to share what Daniel had done. Although King Darius wanted Daniel to stay safe, the king had no choice but to send him to the lion's den. And before Daniel was thrown to the hungry lions, King Darius said to him, "You always serve your God faithfully, so may he save you." Because the king was afraid for Daniel, he didn't eat or sleep that night. Then early the next morning, King Darius rushed to the lion's pit to check on him. As he neared the pit, the king shouted, "Daniel, you serve the living God. You always serve him faithfully. Was he able to save you from the lions?" Maybe King Darius didn't expect an answer, but he received one. Daniel replied, "My God sent his angel, and his angel shut the mouths of the lions. They haven't hurt me at all, because I haven't done anything wrong in God's sight. I have never done anything wrong to you either, your majesty." The king ordered the guards to lift Daniel from the pit. He was so happy Daniel was alive, he ordered all the people to respect the God of Israel. And those other rulers who got Daniel in trouble in the first place, King Darius ordered them to be sent to the lion's den. King Darius knew God protected Daniel because Daniel obeyed God, even when it seemed dangerous. And that's the story of Daniel. So, in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Daniel served the king. Daniel obeyed God. So, he was thrown to the lions. God protected him. God protects those who obey him. And that's a part of God's story.
So, we have learned over the last 6 weeks, we have learned so much about Daniel and how he always trusted God. He'd rather obey God than obey all the different kings that he had worked for. And Daniel's secret was that he prayed. He prayed often. In that story, the Bible tells us that he prayed 3 times every day. Now that was his formal prayers. That's when he made a point, no matter what happened, he would pray those 3 times every single day. But you know what? I guess because Daniel had such a good relationship with God, I guess that he talked to him a lot more than those 3 times. I guess he talked to him when he was happy, when he was sad, when he was in trouble, when good things were happening. I think Daniel would have talked to God any time. Do you know if you have a relationship with someone, you need to talk to them? Can you imagine? You have a relationship with your mom and dad. and you live in the house with your mum and dad, can you imagine never talking to them, ever? I know sometimes you might fall out with them and you'd be like, I don't talk to you, but that's not what I mean. I mean, when they're making the dinner, when they give you your dinner, when they're helping you with your homework, what if you just didn't say a word to them ever? You wouldn't do that, sure you wouldn't, because you have a relationship with your mum and dad. And so for all of us who have a relationship with God, we need to remember to talk to God and to listen to what He's saying to us. And we can talk to God anytime. We don't always have to get down on our knees. We don't even always have to close our eyes. Sometimes maybe just walking along the street, maybe something comes into your mind or something's worrying you. You can talk to God while you're doing that too. Today we're going to sing a song. Probably haven't sung it in a couple of years, but you might know it. You might maybe sing it somewhere else, maybe in BB or GB. Daniel was a man of prayer. Daily he prayed 3 times, till one day they had him cast in a den of lions. In the den, fear could not alarm him. God just shut the lions' mouths so they could not harm him. You ready?
Prayed 3 times, till one day they had him cast in the den of lions. In the den, fear could not alarm him. God just shut the lions' mouths, so they could not harm him. Daniel was a man of prayer. He prayed 3 times, till one day they had him cast in the den of lions. In the den, fear could not alarm him. God just shut the lions' mouths, so they could not harm
That's all on our series on Daniel. So next week, Kids Church is going to be in 2 parts. The first part is going to be a quiz about Daniel. Okay? And I want you to have a think. You can decide, is the quiz going to be kids against adults? Boys against girls? Left side against right side? You can decide. Alright? So let's brush up on Daniel, all the things that we learned, and we'll have a quiz next week. Alright? Well done.